Good evening, everyone. It is Thursday evening, and I am doing what I'm going to still try to do as often as I can, um, a midweek check-in with everyone. And once again, this week it becomes Thursday instead of Wednesday. And it is one of those time flies when you're having fun weeks for a lot of us, particularly in academics. So we're in the middle of final exams on the main campus, and despite my semi-retired status, I still teach 3 main campus classes. And I discovered, much to my dismay, that all the grades are due Friday. And I'm not used to that. Under our old system, I had an extra couple of days after graduation to go ahead and get the final grades in. I know that seems a little out of order, but that's the way it was. But we have some new, really good systems in there, but they've got a little bit tighter reporting requirements, so that has thrown a little bit of a monkey wrench into the works. So I didn't make my stretch goal of getting all your week 1 written assignments graded by Wednesday. But I did just make my goal of getting them done by Thursday. I just got through them all, and they're, for the most part, very, very good. It was an interesting little case we had, whether we'd hire Felix or not. And I can tell you, people were on both sides of the issue, made some very good points. Most of us analyzed it pretty well. I think overall I was very pleased with it. And I tried to give as much commentary as I could. And you'll find it's actually, the commentary split in 2 ways. One, you'll find that this is, as much of anything, an opinion piece. You can't be right or wrong, but you can back up your opinion as to whether you would hire Felix or not with good reasoning. And that's what we wanted to see, and that's what I saw in just about every case. Even though people were kind of split on it. Several people did want to hire Felix and said, maybe with proper training and proper exposure to diversity, that his attitudes would change. Others would say, sorry, these were red flags. We didn't see enough possibility of change in Felix and felt that it would be dangerous to our smoothly functioning organization. No, we wouldn't hire Felix. And several people offered the interesting position of, personally, I don't want to hire Felix, but I think organizationally it might be a good move because of his skill set. And that maybe being acclimated in a diverse situation that he clearly had never been in before, he might be able to change. These are all really great observations. So I think a lot of it was there. The one I know, I won't identify the individual, but that shared one of my opinions was, I was thinking about it all week as I was reading them, that just Felix's attitude of being sort of an anti-diversity person is a form of diversity. And maybe our organizations we spend all our time looking at the people who want us to embrace diversity. Maybe we have to look at that outlier, the one that's still the holdout about diversity, and say, that's a diversity situation in itself, and maybe we've got to learn how to understand and deal with those individuals as well. As you can see, it's not a simple problem. It's not an easy problem, is what we can do. I did take the time to, when I read many of the papers, I am offering my commentary on writing. And I think writing is very important. I think written communication is a skill that sometimes we don't practice enough. So as I use this line in my comments to many people, yes, I am turning into your high school English teacher, but I do this for a real reason. It's not to be critical of your work. It's to help us all become better communicators, better business communicators. Because unfortunately, what can happen is a really great idea, a really super piece of analysis, a really great thought can be buried in a bad writing experience or a bad spoken experience. We need to polish up our communication skills. And so please take these all as constructive comments and ways I think we can do things that will help us, and to let literally to let yourself shine through. But to let yourself shine, you have to communicate well. And so I'm just going to leave you with this. There's You know, many of us, we talked about the introduction to the paper and then the body of the paper and the conclusions of the paper. If you go back to ancient Greek philosophy, and most of us have heard of Aristotle, right? And there's a branch of his work that is called rhetoric. And rhetoric is about the art of speaking, the art of presenting your ideas. And of course, it's because it's Aristotle's, it's called Aristotelian rhetoric. And he had some pieces put together. And one of the things he really talked about were three concepts. One were ethos, pathos, and logos. And what they meant was simple. Ethos was the right to speak, that you have by your position earned the place, the position, the authority to speak and to be heard. And because of your position and your place in the organization, in society, in whatever, I should listen to you, at least hear what you have to say. Pathos, and you can see there's that root word of, you know, empathy and sympathy and emotion there. Pathos had to do with the passion you put in. If you're really, really interested in something and can get people excited about it because you are so enthusiastic about your presentation, then they'll listen to you. And the last one is logos. And logos is the root word of logic. That the logic of your presentation is so strong and so well developed that, once again, people will listen to you. And even though Aristotle was talking about the spoken word, you can see how that applies to the written word as well. So another little three-piece hint that I want to give you about writing and even making a spoken presentation. Now this one's a little bit more emphasis on the actual presentation, but I'd like you to think of it this way. The first 15% of your presentation, no matter how long it is, tell them what you're going to tell them. The second, the body of the presentation, 75% of your presentation, tell them. And then the last, the 10% that's left over, guess what you have to do? Tell them what you just told them. If you can put your written or your oral presentation together with those three components and combine it back with the way old Aristotle looked at things, then you're going to become a master communicator and get your ideas across. So just a couple little hints. I'm really looking forward to, now that I'm done with the grading, I can dive into the discussion board. The issues of discrimination and barriers to diversity are just almost too many to tackle in 1 week. And human behavior has a lot to do with it, and I think we're going to learn a lot about human behavior. I do urge people to go back into one of the links you can take, and I know a couple people have done it, look at some of those instruments so you can see if you have any biases. I know I went and looked at them and said, oh my gosh, I do have some biases that I thought I knew about, I thought I'd gotten rid of, and nope, they're still there. Okay, so thank you for listening to me. I think these videos are a real good way, at least for me, to communicate, and I'll keep them up as long as people are watching. Okay, thank you very much, and if you have any questions, get in touch with me.